Okay, so in the requirement gathering techniques we have discussed till now on the first seven, which is started with the acceptance and evaluation criteria, benchmarking, followed by brainstorming, business rules analysis, and data dictionary, data flow diagrams, data modeling, and then the final one will be the decision analysis. So this is an approach that where we are going to take the make the decisions that examines the models and the possible consequences of the different decisions, and this assists in making an optimal decisions under conditions or any uncertainty that we will be having based on the unknown factors that are relevant to the decision problem. And this effective decision involves in the for the BAs to understand what will be the main values, the goals and objectives that are relevant to the decision problem that we'll be having, and the nature of the decisions that we need to take, and what are the different areas of uncertainty that should affect the decision, and whatever the consequences that we need to take in each possible decision. So these will be mostly the outcomes will be like in the financial analysis, where we have the different financial models which estimates the market value and setting up the estimating the value of a new business solution of the acquisition. So this decision analysis will be used mostly less in the organizations, only in the purpose of making the decisions whenever there is a required on identifying like which are the objectives that need to be taken into the high considerations. So as discussed, like this is the one of the most important technique which will be frequently used, and after that we will be having the business rules analysis, followed by as I mentioned, like these three are correlated to each other: data flow diagram, so data dictionary and glossary, data flow diagrams, and data modeling. So these three are correlated and interconnected with each other, and to implement, say, if you are going to uh, take any of these techniques, so make sure that you should be very strong at the database level, and you should have complete understanding in the data transformation, and like in the complete way, in the one single sentence, like you should be an expert in the as a data analyst, like you should know what will be the how the data is flowing, and how you need to do the data transformation, and like how you need to give put the data visualization, like this is how the raw data or the data that we are going to get from the third parties or any other external sources. And with that data, we are doing some data transformation or data cleansing. And then we are maintaining the final data or the actual data after doing the data, after performing the data cleansing. And the cleansed data or the tuned data, we'll be using it into our application. And this tuned data will be maintained in a particular service, and from there you are going to generate the output on the service that you have maintained or tuned. So that is why the reason when you are going to implement or going to follow any of these three techniques, you should be familiar with the data transformation or complete understanding of the data analysis. So as of my experience till now, I didn't followed any of these three techniques, because the first one is most of the organizations will not be giving their company or their data, because which where the data becomes the most confidential one for them. So the data will not be shared directly to us. So without giving the actual data or giving the complete information about the data, we can't able to provide the solution or can't able to derive it the how the data transformation is going to happen. So that is the one key disadvantage of not using these three techniques. Why? Because the organizations itself will not be um, having confident levels to move or to give the access to their data. Mhm. And this one. And then this is how about the requirements gathering techniques. Um, Then chapter 9, which is enterprise analysis. 1 second. Requirement gathering techniques. I have one more slide. So the similar tool that what we have mentioned, so it gives you here the same, and it is explained in the form of a structure, so where you can able to understand easily and explain here each of the technique and their purpose, ranking and score in the benchmarking and brainstorming. What will be the purpose here and what we are going to do in the brainstorming methods. And in the brainstorming methods, we will be creating the wireframes. And this information is also added here. I think this can, I'll also share this one as well. And the next one. Data flow diagrams. This is where we discussed about the last three techniques here in our requirements gathering, data dictionary, data flow, and data modeling. So I have given the information at a high level here, the purpose of data flow diagram, and then how the data flow should happen. And in data modeling, uh, then we enterprise analysis, right? That is where, yeah, and this chapter 9 talks about. So this enterprise analysis is nothing but say a few of the companies or organizations, like enterprise level or organization level. So enterprise level is nothing but where they will be having the product which will be supporting to the which will be delivering to the multiple number of organization. So when you are getting the requirements at the organizational level is a quite different when you take the requirements from the enterprise level. So enterprise level is here. In the enterprise level, you will be having multiple number of organizations. So when you are defining the requirements from the enterprise analysis, you should think in such a way like whatever the different organizations that this enterprise is having, how these requirements can able to fit into all these organizations. That is the only difference between the business analysis that what we have done at the organization level and the business analysis that has been done at the enterprise level. So the enterprise analysis will be acting as the core knowledge which will be identifying and understanding what will be the business needs and identifying the opportunities of the improvements. And as we already know that the business analysis will be performed in the organization level. So here the same will be performed at the enterprise level. So here you see that the enterprise analysis refers to the set of activities that will help the different organizations like identifying the business problem, again developing the business cases, defining the project scope, and aligning with the sets of activities. And this is how we have the objectives like understanding the organization business architecture, identifying and analyze. So all these things we already discussed, and applied at the organization level. So here the same objectives we are now applying at the enterprise level. That is the only difference here. Apart from then, whatever the responsibilities or the roles that you have done as conducting in the as a business in the business analysis phase, the same here. Just replace the word of organization in as a enterprise here. So when you are conducting or doing any analysis, business analysis at the organization level, it should stick only to that particular organization. But when it comes to the enterprise level, so this particular set of analysis should be in such a way like it should fit to all the organization that the enterprise is supporting. So in the enterprise level also we have mentioned the key activities like analyzing the current state and identifying what's missing to meet the business objectives, defining the business state and determining the solution approach and defining the solution scope and establishing the boundaries and conducting the feasibility study, evaluating the cost benefits and timelines and then doing the stakeholder analysis and then identifying who will be impacted and involved in the initiatives. Initiatives are nothing but the, you can say like action set of new features that you are going to implement at the organization level. When you say like when you are going to implement a new feature at the organization level, you should look in such a way like when it is implemented in the enterprise level, so how these can be affected or how this should be can be should be affected at the different organizations that the current enterprise is supporting. Only that is the thing where we need to do here. So we already discussed about the different tools and techniques we have used in performing the business analysis, the same like SWOT analysis, root cause analysis, and then conducting the gap analysis. So all these things remain same here. So the more only importance of enterprise analysis is like it helps the organization to make informed about the initiatives or the investment decisions they are taking, and those should aligns with the initiatives with the long term by strategic goals, and it should reduce the risk by identifying the potential barriers and ensure that all the stakeholders are addressed from the initial state itself, because as this has been implementing from at the enterprise level, so this information should be initiated or conveyed or communicated to the clients at the starting phase itself. And fishbone is one of the technique that we are going to use at the enterprise level. So in order to have this fishbone, or we can say like this has been derived from the one of the where we call it the Chinese term in the word age like Ishbika diagram, and the purpose is like it helps us visually organize possible causes of a problem, identifying the root causes, and why we have been calling it as I say fish skeleton here is like we are maintaining the information at the organization level in the form of a skeleton, which will start at the head. Head is nothing but for the fish, the head will be in our scenarios. The head is nothing but our enterprise, and the remaining parts of the things will be considering it as a different organization. And when we are having the different causes for implementing this, we will be getting as defined as a six M's or of the six P's, which is the main power, and what are the different processes involved, and what are the different programs, and what are the different products that we are having, and then what are the different policies we have been implementing, and then where exactly the place that has been that this particular change has been implemented. And this is how we need to create. First one is to identify the problem clearly, which is nothing but the head of the diagram, which is the in the fishbone diagram, the fish head itself representing the highest major problem here, and then identifying what are the different main categories which are related to the problem, and then you will be doing the brainstorming sessions on each and every category, and we need to identify or drill down what are the different causes it is having. And this is how the fish bone diagram is going to have. So it is structured as a brainstorming tool using categories to explain the root causes of an undesirable effect. So this is the fish head here, the main problem, and we have categorized into six cases here. What will be the cause? And that for each category, we'll be identifying the different causes, and we are addressing those causes by implementing the brainstorming here. Say, let's take as a fishbone diagram example. Say the problem statement is the delayed resolution of the customer support tickets. So these are the different categories you have identified. So first one is the people, process, technology, policy, environment, and the measurement. So what are their possible causes? So first cause for the people here is having experienced support staff. So, and then for the process, it is having the poor escalation procedure for the technology, and they might be using some very low technologies, which may causing slow in the ticketing system, and they don't have the specific SLAs defined here, and they don't have the high for the environment related, so they don't implemented the high infrastructure or high architecture for their things, and then they will be having the measurement where they don't have any particular metrics to measure the performance. So these are the possible causes, and for these possible causes, you have maintained or you have provided the solution as a sub cause. So in order to get the inexperienced support staff problem, so we are mentioning like with the help of new hires without having sufficient training. So you have said like why this inexperienced support staff problem has been caused because we have hired few people without having sufficient technology. And for the possible problem of poor escalation procedure, the subclause is like the cause related to come for this particular problem is there is no specific guidance of the ticket priority. And the possible problem for the slow ticketing system is they don't have the legacy system with the frequent downtime. So what happens? So like whenever a particular server is down, then we should need to have the backup server that supports, and we should not uh, I think we should not stop the access to that users to create the tickets. And we have the problem defined as a lack of SLAs, which means like they don't have an incentive model defined here. And there is a problem called as a high turnover rate. For the cause would be like there would be some stressful work environment, and we have the problem called as a no performance metrics tracking because as they don't have the regular view of resolution time data, so they don't able to perform this metrics over there. So this is how we need to define understand this fishbone diagram constructed in such a way like for each category you need to identify the problem clause and its sub cause. So this information you are going to get by performing the brainstorming sessions with the clients or the different stakeholders involved in the project. Okay, so any questions till now in this enterprise analysis? Just one main key thing that you need to remember in your mind is like whenever you have mentioned the word of an enterprise, you should look in such a way like you are performing the business analysis or you are doing the requirements at the enterprise level, means it should affect to the list of organization that the enterprise is having or enterprise is following. So if you don't have any questions, then what is so chapter 9? Yeah, and chapter 11, it talks about, I think, business validation. For the business validation, I think I can don't have a specific slides here, but I can show you like how we can able to do this business validations. For example, let's come back to our project that what we have done. 1 second. Let me give you here. Yes, for example, we have developed the product and developed a product, and then it has been released into production environment. Or we can simply say the prod environment. Okay, and when it is really moved into production environment, then here usually a validation should be done at two levels. First one is we will be having like a smoke test. This will be done by the UA team or yeah, UA team. And then the second one is application, or we can say like product infra test. So this is nothing, this will be performed by the IT operations team. So uh, then the third one is business validation. This will be done by the BS. So now what happens in exactly, actually these are the validations which are performed once a product is delivered, is moved into production environment. So smoke test is nothing but just opening the company website and seeing whether the website has launched without any errors or without getting any error like 404 issues, and whether or the website is having all the features or not. So that is nothing but the smoke test. So testing at the high level, seeing at the different pages in the website, like clicking the menu items and seeing whether all the menu items and its sub menu items are displaying or not. And then also like testing if in different browsers, like once the code has been moved into production environment, so they have been uh, testing this particular URL in different browsers like Chrome, IE, Firefox, etc. Whatever their organization is following on the browsers. So this is at the high level, and then the application or the prod infrastructure test is like uh, here the operations team who has been moved the code into the production. So they will be checking at their site like whether the website has been or the product has been moved into production environment based on the checks. They will be having some checklist here. So whether they have been implemented all the checklist guidelines that has been defined. And now the business validation here is, so BA, he will check the um, business functionality. So while we are saying like the business functionality, say for example, let's see it as like a role wise. So first one is let's consider it as a admin, and then we'll be having like a supervisor role, and then they will be having at the end user role. So now here the IT operations team will provide access to the the BA as the admin role. And as a admin, the business analyst has the BA has to log in into the website, or and then he should be able to see what are the functionalities, because the BA is the person who knows like admin functionality. So what an admin can able to see or can able to perform in the application or in the admin in the product. So admin functionality. So here BA will test all the admin related functionalities. Test in the sense like he will not enter any data. So he will just see as a user, if you logged into the application with the admin permissions, then what are the different features or the different screens that he can able to see. And then he will be giving once the admin functionality is tested, so the BA need to take the screenshots of the application, like the role assigned here is the admin role. And then as a admin, he can able to see these are the dashboards, and these are the screens, and these are the admin pages, like giving the access to the creating a new users, and then modifying the access to the users, and then defining the roles. So all these are related to the admin functionality. So you should able to take the screenshot of each and every one and put it in the simple Word document, like he logged in as a admin user. And with the when he logged in as an admin user, he can able to see the admin dashboard, and he can able to see the configuration settings, and he can able to see the final reports. So that there you will be seeing like, okay, as the admin user, all the functionality has been implemented. So now the IT team will remove your admin access, and they will be providing the role of a supervisor access here. So now you have been logged into the application as a supervisor, and you will see what are the features that you can able to see in the website. Like you should be having the approval process, and you should be having the review structure, and you will be having some additional functionality as a supervisor that has been covered into the website or not. You just need to take the screenshots, no need to enter any data here. And the same way you will take the screenshots and update in the document. And now you will be logging in as a end user. So now the IT people will remove the access as a super user, and they will give the access to the as a end user. So being an end user, you're logged into the application, and you will see what are the different menu items that you should be able to see, and then what are the different screens that you are supposed to see. So all these things, again, you need to take the screenshots and put it into the Word document. So this document will be calling it as the document which have the screenshots with the respective roles that you have taken. So that will be taking it as a business validation document here. And this will be produced here. We will be calling it as a post production validation. That is a document with no set of standards, and with no set of standards defined. So taking the screenshots with the access provided under different roles, different roles, and validate the uh, respective pages, or you can say respective information to be displayed, and attaching the screenshots into a document, and it should be shared only to the privileged people here. Privileged people in the sense like here, privileged people will be like our client, and I think only client is sufficient here. No other user will be acting as a, because we don't want to give the information in the production environment to the other users, as even though it is a screenshot. So the first preferable person is the client, and then sending an email stating that code has been moved into production, and these are the results after performing post production. So this is the way we, only the VA is the person who is supposed to do this post-production validation, and he is the person who is having the rights to send an email to the client that the code has been deployed, and we have taken the necessary screenshots based on the different access levels, and these are the information that based on the access that the system should display, and it is displaying as per the requirements, and these are the attached screenshots. So this is how we are going to perform the post-production validation being a business analyst after whenever we have the production deployment done. Uh, Yeah, so this is how, what is business validation that we did here. So taking the access roles of the different user level access and identifying what are the different screens or the information that need to be displayed in the screens. And then we have done the, after this post production, we have taken the screenshots here and attached them in a document and shared to the client, which is nothing but a post-production validation, which is the final step in the development of the project. So here you started communicating with the client by doing the business analysis, and ended communication with the client after implementing those requirements into production environment. So hope today we have covered all our pending sessions, topics that what we have, and here, here we are left with the whatever the topics that we need to revisit. So we have the product backlog, which won't take much time here because we already have the product which we did in our session notes here. I think it's in the agile model. I think in the last session when we discussed about the Scrum process, we discussed about the product backlog as well. So we can get that here. It won't take much time here. Yeah, so I think in this is the last session topics we discussed. So I think product backlog is already discussed. If we can go through the recordings here. And chart sessions we will see, and burn down charts we will see, and SDLC chapter 2. Okay. And so this will also not take much time here. And then the BA techniques here. BA techniques, I think we already discussed it today as well in the requirement gathering techniques. Okay, and apart from that, I don't see there are specific techniques for a B. Okay. If this is the one which we are talking about, Okay, so you want to go through again these business analysis techniques. Okay, so this will take couple of time, and this is the work action item pending from my end. So let me make a note here. Okay, so then we have these are the four items that we need to discuss. Oh, share this with you. And this updated sheet, let me do, I'll upload this in the, I think I can stop the recording.